Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. As of recording, I just got done watching the Chargers Week 2 preseason game against the Cowboys. And there was a lot to take away. There was mostly negative things to take away from this game. It was not a good game by any stretch. And not just by the score. Score doesn't really matter to me. It is about the way these guys played, and the way these guys put, really bad things on tape. It was very discouraging, and obviously it's a preseason game, but, most of the, and before I wrote some notes down and everything. I watched the game from start to finish and took notes so I can record this video. So before I even get into any of that, I will say that a lot of these guys on the Chargers roster are making cut day very easy. They're making it very easy for Tom Telesco. They're making it very easy for Brandon Staley to make these cuts. When it comes down to trimming the roster down to 53, these guys are making it extremely easy. Now, there might be a few, harder cuts at some positions, but by and large, most of these guys are just making it extremely easy for the Chargers to cut down. So to me, that's a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but as far as these performances, go, it's just like it's not pretty to watch. So I kind of want to jump into it now. So number one, let me get to some of the good things that I see, right? And there weren't many, but Josh Palmer he's ascending to another level as far as a receiver. I said that he might be Keenan Allen Jr., but I think that's probably not accurate at this point. I think he might raise to a level above Keenan Allen because I think he's physically a little more gifted than Keenan Allen. He's a little faster. He's a little stronger. So he has some tools that Keenan Allen doesn't have physically. Now, Keenan Allen obviously is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and he understands the game really from a cerebral standpoint, kind of like a quarterback, right? He knows the ins and outs, what to do, when to sit down in the middle of a zone, right? When to keep running and man coverage and all of that stuff. He understands that cerebral part, but Josh Palmer is just a, he's a better athlete just from jump. So Josh Palmer he's good. He's going to have a very, very good season. I'm really excited to see him. Very, very excited to see him. He really showed out. He came in, balled out, and went to the sideline, just like he should have. But he was obviously the biggest bright spot for the Chargers tonight. So that was pretty much the only thing that I wrote at this point right now. Just looking at the game from the first quarter on. Offensive line play was not good in the first quarter. Storm Norton got to start. He started, and I think he played like half of the first quarter, I want to say, or at least most of the first quarter until I seen Trey Pipkins in. I didn't really see anything from those two guys, really good or bad. I'll have to watch the game back and check the tape. I know there were some pressures that happened, and I couldn't determine if it was on Storm Norton's side or Trey Pipkins' side, the right side. I couldn't really tell, in the first quarter, first and second quarter. So that's why I figured I'm gonna come back and watch the tape a little later. But I didn't really see anything good or bad from those guys, and at this point, it's just you're gonna have to rock with pretty much both of these guys at right tackle, right? When one is not playing well, you can expect to see the other, and I think it's just going to go back and forth. So it's going to be a roller coaster ride at right tackle. I think this season, unless the Chargers make some really big change, which they have not telegraphed that they are going to do. But if they don't, this is pretty much who the Chargers are going to go with at right tackle. So it could be a very up and down season at that position. But again, I really didn't see anything, great, but I didn't see anything awful from them either. So, I guess you can kind of put it in the middle. Easton Stick is officially the number 2 quarterback, right? And whether or not the Chargers play it that way, I know that they really like Chase Daniel, and I'm sure that they want to be, very diplomatic with him, concerning the situation. But Easton Stick is the number 2. He's the clear number 2 quarterback. He had a it wasn't a horrible interception in the first quarter, but it was an interception. He was trying to be too aggressive that early, and he probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. But it is what it is, right? This is the type of stuff you do in the preseason, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But Easton Stick did impress me. He did have a few runs where he was able to get outside of the pocket, right, get a couple of first downs. He did make some good throws, but as far as just evaluating him, he was under a lot of pressure, and I thought he dealt with that pressure as best as he could. Obviously, if you're a quarterback, right, pressure is going to get to you. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how many Super Bowls you've won. If you have pressure in your face, then you are going to, at some point, right, you're going to, be brought down to earth, no matter how good you are, how good you play. So Easton Stick was really dealing with a lot of pressure from the start of the game. Chase Daniel really was dealing with a lot of pressure as well, too. But I will get to Chase Daniel a little later. I just kind of want to just go down my list. The biggest thing that stands out to me, special teams, absolutely awful, absolutely awful. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're going to make this team. I don't care if you, this is your undrafted free agent. I don't care. Special teams was absolutely awful. And I don't normally cuss on this channel, but these guys played like shit. It was terrible. You cannot give up a 98-yard kickoff return touchdown and then turn right back around and give up a 72-yard punt return touchdown. It doesn't make any sense. Special teams was awful. And if you're a Charger fan, you know what bad special teams looks like because that has been the Chargers staple. This is, if it's one thing that the Chargers are known for, it is blowing leads and having bad special teams, right? Especially over like the past, 20 years, right? If you've been a Charger fan that long, over the past 20 years, Chargers have been known for blowing leads, bad special teams. That's what it is. And this special teams unit was not good. And like I said, I don't care if you're trying to make the team. I don't care if you are trying to whatever. Your special teams unit should not be that bad. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys are going to make it easy, to make cuts because you cannot do that in any game. Preseason game, regular season, whatever. You can't do that. Your special teams cannot be that bad because there's other teams, 31 other teams in the league, right, that are playing preseason games, right? No other teams are giving up, 98-yard kick return touchdowns and 72-yard punt return touchdowns consecutively. There's no other teams out there doing that. The Cowboys special teams players didn't do that, and a lot of those guys are not going to make the team. So not making the team or, being undrafted free agent is not an excuse because other teams don't do that. So that is absolutely not an excuse. Special teams coordinator, the new coordinator, Ryan Ficken, he better get that shit together. Or else he will find himself, just like Darius Swinton was last year, fired. Brandon Staley fired Darius Swinton because special teams weren't good enough. And special teams were not as bad as this last year. So it doesn't matter. I don't care. There's no circumstances that warrant that type of stuff. And, during the broadcast, I heard Dan Fouts say, they don't get to really work on special teams. So, they're giving up touch. Okay, if that's the case, aren't the other teams not working on special teams either because they can't hit, right, because of the CBA and all of that stuff? They're not working on special teams either, and they're not giving up these long touchdowns, very embarrassing touchdowns. There's no other teams doing that, only the Chargers. So there's no excuses for that, the guys who do not, like I said, and I've pointed this out a lot. Special teams are important, and if you put guys on special teams who look like, they are going to start or maybe they're going to get a lot of playing time or whatever, they will half-ass it on special teams. We've seen this in the NFL for a really long time. Guys who have some type of status in the league, they will half-ass special teams and they will not do what they are supposed to do, right? They run outside of their lanes. They leave lanes wide open. It's not a whole – special teams really isn't all that strategic. It's just about effort, going out there and having the want to and the will to do it. It's kind of like rebounding in the NBA, right? There's some stuff you can strategize, but for the most part, it's just going out there and showing the effort and putting the effort in, right? And knocking somebody back, making tackles, doing all the stuff that you need to do. If you can't do that, you have no place on the Chargers. You have no place in the NFL. So a lot of these guys, like I said, they are making it easy for cut day, and they deserve to be cut. And I can't wait till cut day because let's get the bad stuff off the roster, because a lot of this stuff was bad, terrible, and most of it is just based off of effort stuff. Very vanilla offense, very vanilla defenses tonight. A lot of this stuff is just based off effort, individual matchups, and the Chargers, they played like sissies tonight. I'll just say it like that. They played like sissies. All the guys who got a lot of time in, they played like sissies. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And, by and large, a lot of them are going to get cut. And, bye-bye. We'll see you later. So let me just go. I'm going to continue going down the list. Just some of the things that I wrote down. Run defense was not good. The guys who played, there were a few bright spots. I thought Otito played really well in the run game. He was very stout. Again, he dealt with a lot of double teams, but he was able, to hold up at the point of attack, right? A lot of double teams, and he was able to kind of stand them up, kind of have a standstill, right at the line of scrimmage. They weren't able to move him, so the running backs were still able to gain yards because they're double teaming him, so they're able to, make a cut right off the guard and maybe get up the gut for 6 to 7 yards or whatever. Linebackers should have been there to clean it up. A lot of missed tackles. Very sloppy play. Very sloppy. Again, I'm going to say this a bunch of times. They're making it easy to make these cuts to get down to 53. So run defense was not good tonight. As far as the younger DBs, Dean Leonard was in the game. I don't think he played all that much. He did play a lot better. He didn't get burned like he did last week. There was one play where they threw to him. He was in man-to-man coverage, and I think the Cowboys had it, inside the 5-yard line, and I think they tried to throw like a fade, and he played pretty good coverage on that, and the receiver was not able to catch the ball. So that was definitely a good sign. Jasir Taylor played better as well too. I noticed they have him playing, the slot, pretty much exclusively. He looked a lot more comfortable tonight. He did make a couple of plays as well, too, at the line of scrimmage. He's very fast, so I think if he finds his footing at that position, I think he can be pretty good. But, he's still very young. He still needs to get a lot of seasoning under his belt before he's going to be ready to really play in any type of meaningful action. So I think he is going to be a special teams guy exclusively until, he shows that he's ready to be in the secondary, or until there's an injury that might possibly force him into action. But, if that happens, hopefully he is ready. But he did look a lot more comfortable than last week. As far as JT Woods is he badly needs to hit a gym. You cannot play safety in the NFL the way he looks and the just the stature that he has right now. You cannot play safety. He cannot get anybody on the ground. He is, as they say, he's very light in the ass. And it is embarrassing, watching him trying to make these tackles. He's trying to get these big tight ends who are very, thick and girthy down to the ground, and he can't. He can't because he's too slim. He needs to hit a gym. He needs to get a base. He needs to work on legs. He needs to work on legs. He needs to work. He's fast. He's explosive. He's always around the ball because he is fast, but he needs to work. He needs to get a base up underneath him. He is very, very slim. He looks like a slim wide receiver playing safety, and he got trucked, in the red zone, trying to come up and hit a running back. His pad level is way too high. If he's going to come down in the box and try to hit guys, he needs to get his pad level lower, because he is a tall, slender guy, and if he comes in there high, he will get trucked every single time, especially against, some of these running backs in the league. You think of a Nick Chubb, JT Woods try to square up Nick Chubb, it's not going to, that will end up in a hospital visit for JT Woods. That would not be pretty at all. So he needs to hit a gym. I like his natural instincts, but he needs to hit a gym. He should not be getting on the field this season at all. He should be relegated to special teams until he feels his body out. You cannot be that skinny playing safety. It's just not. He looks like a basketball player playing safety. You get a shooting guard and put him in pads and a helmet, and tell him to go out there and try to square people up. It's just not. It's not going to end well. And it didn't end well for him in that play at the goal line. And there's a bunch of times where he could not get guys down to the ground. He had a chance to go for interception. I think he tried to jump in front of one of the tight ends, and tight end pretty much just boxed him out just because he's bigger and stronger. So you need to be strong. You have to match strength. at especially you're going to be guarding tight ends, right? If you're a safety, you're going to be one-on-one with a lot of tight ends. You're going to be in zone coverage defending against a lot of tight ends. You have to be able to get these guys to the ground. Just holding them up at the point of attack is not going to be good enough. That ain't going to work with Darren Waller. That ain't going to work. It's just not going to work with the best tight ends. That ain't going to work with George Kittle. You're going to get embarrassed. So, it is what it is. But JT Woods, he desperately needs to get into a gym. The Chargers should already be planning what they need to do, what he needs to do, this next offseason to really transform his body. He needs to do the Josh Kelly body transformation, because he has to get stronger if he's going to play his position, because he is not strong. It's not there at all. If you can't get guys down in the preseason, ain't no way in hell you're going to be able to get them down in the regular season, especially with the talent in the AFC West and AFC in general. No way, not a chance. So JT Woods, special teams until next season. One of the worst things that I've seen tonight was Foster Sarell at left tackle getting worked by guys who are not going to make the Dallas Cowboys roster. Foster Sarell, he's going to be he'll probably end up getting cut unless he is, unless he's high up in the coach's eyes or Tom Telesco. He'll end up getting cut, because this dude, there was a play. Now, this play was a toss to the left, and it was, I think the ball was on the left hash mark too. So it's not like they were on the right hash mark. The ball was on the left hash mark. It was a toss left. Foster Sarell was a left tackle, right? It's his job to get out there and lead block, right? The running back is going to set up his run based on, the left tackle's block once he gets out there. He didn't block anybody. And I think this was like a third down play. I think it was like a 3rd and 3 or something like that. Foster Sarell gets out there, gets all the way out to the boundary. And by the time he's out, towards the sideline, it was the first time that he got his hands on anybody, and he kind of just pushed the cornerback. And the cornerback was already in front of him. So he really didn't block anybody on the play. The running back ended up getting ate up for about a 3 or 4 yard loss. It was one of the most terrible plays I think I've seen in a very, very long time. This dude does not need to be at left tackle. I don't know if he can play any other positions on the offensive line. I have no idea. But that was enough for me to say, hey, no. Absolutely not. Didn't get in the way, didn't impede anybody. Just went out there and just did absolutely nothing. So, to me, that was one of the worst plays that I've seen. I think he's going to be a cut. He was getting worked. That wasn't the only bad play. He was getting worked again by guys who are not going to make the Cowboys roster. He was struggling. He just does not look athletic enough. He looks very big, very slow. He looks like his feet are concrete, or like he is, playing in concrete, or he's playing in sand, something heavy. He's just not light on his feet. And, he was getting worked. And that's pretty much where the pressure was coming from. If you watch the game back, if you watch tape, if you're into that, watch the game. Watch all of the Charger offensive plays when Foster Sarell was in there. Most of the pressure was coming from the right side. And a lot of it wasn't blitzes. It was just, the defensive end lining up and just beating him. And, beating him to the inside, beating him to the outside. They were having their way with Foster Sarell. So this is a guy who cannot possibly make the roster if the Chargers hope to, have any type of success, any type of playoff success. This is a guy that can't make the roster, because if he makes the roster, there's going to be a chance that he could play, get on the field. You obviously don't want that. Justin Herbert, his health, it would be in this dude's hands, and I there's no way I trust it. So this guy's got to go. Another thing, Jamari Sawyer. Now he's a guy that I have praised a lot, because he had a lot of success in college, but he looks like a guy that needs another offseason. He looks very big and slow as well too. But he's at guard, so it's a little different than playing the tackle position, because you don't have to be as athletic playing that guard position, right? You just have to be a big guy, be able to move people out of the way pretty much, right? Especially in the run game. be able just to hold up at the point of attack in the passing game. But Jamari Sawyer looks like he is, I don't want to say out of shape, but he looks like he can possibly lose some weight and get a little bit lighter and quicker on his feet. He was getting beat inside too. He was getting beat with a lot of speed moves. I noticed that. And I'm going to watch the game back, and I want to watch how he can continually got beat and continually allowed pressure in the face of the quarterback. And he was getting beat with speed moves, a lot of swim moves, things like that. When he gets bull rush, he can hold up pretty well. But he was getting beat with a lot of speed stuff. That ain't good, because there's a lot of speed rushers in the AFC West. There's a lot of speed rushers just in the NFL in general. Guys who can get to the quarterback, make it look very easy. So he is a guy. Now, I know that he's going to make the roster, and I know that he can potentially play this season, but he's got to get better. His feet have to get quicker, and he's got to block with more of a urgency, right? Don't get on the balls of don't get on your heels, right? And he looks like he's on his heels. I don't know if he's tired or not. Get on the balls of your feet. Be able to trace, the guy in front of you. Block him, right? Be able to put him down on the ground, get a piece of him, whatever you have to do, but don't get beat with the speed moves, because he looks like, again, another guy looks like he's playing in sand. But it was just bad offensive line play just in general. Zach Bailey was not any better than those two guys as well too. Number 67, I can't remember what his name was. That's a cut guy for sure. He would probably be number one on my list, because he kept giving up pressure on the inside. There was a drive where he gave up pressure, I think, three times in a row. And, it was ugly. It was ugly. Like I said, the score doesn't really matter, but it's about how these guys play, the effort that they give. And like I said, this is vanilla. This is a preseason. This is vanilla offense. This is vanilla defense. Nobody is showing their hand. Brandon Staley's not showing his hand. They're not getting exotic with the defense. Same thing for the Cowboys. The offense is not getting exotic. Their defense is not getting exotic. Nobody is. So now when it's just vanilla, it's about you being better than the guy across from you. And if you're not better than the guy across from you, how are you going to hold up when the exotic defense really comes in and you get confused, right? Not only are you not better than the guy across from you, but now you're confused about what your job is, and now you're confused about what position you need to be in, to make a certain block or to do a certain thing. So if you cannot win these individual matchups, you're probably not going to make a team. And there was a lot of guys out there who are wearing Charger jerseys who are not going to make a team, not going to make the team. They probably won't make a team at all. They put very bad stuff on tape. This is the type of stuff that, if a guy gets cut, other coaches and other GMs are going to turn on this tape and look at some of the tendencies and things that guys have, and they're going to pass. And a lot of these guys' careers is going to be over after they get cut. So it is what it is. But, everybody is in control of how they play. Everybody's in control of what they do. And it just is what it is. This was a very, very bad preseason game. But this was it is what it is, right? These things happen. And, for the guys who are going to make the team, this is going to be probably one of the more embarrassing film sessions that they're going to have to sit through tomorrow, because this wasn't pretty at all. This was not pretty. And, for a lot of these guys, they got one more preseason game left in their NFL careers. And, hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully they revel in it. But a lot of these guys are not going to make the team. These cuts are going to be easy. Tom Telesco is going to have, a much easier time than probably what he thought. But, hey, it happens, right? It happens. The Chargers have lofty expectations this season, and this type of play is unacceptable. And I get it that it's just a preseason game, but, guys who feel like they can just mail it in the preseason and not play special teams and not give effort and not do what they're supposed to do, that is just not going to gel with what the Chargers want to do this year. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. There's only a few more training camp practices left. There's only one more preseason game left. So, this is starting to wind up before the regular season gets here. So, hopefully the guys that have a chance to make the roster, hopefully they're able to, if they make some mistakes tonight, hopefully they're able to correct them, learn from them and whatnot. But for the most part, a lot of these guys are gonna go away and do something else. And this is what the NFL is. But overall, not a great game for the Chargers tonight. But they got one more preseason game left, so we'll see what happens. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I will be back with more content tomorrow. Yeah, so I know a lot of y'all probably didn't enjoy the game, but hey, it is what it is. This is what the preseason is about, right? Let's get all the bad play out of the way first before the season starts, and that's exactly what the Chargers did tonight. So hey, we'll wake up tomorrow and we'll be good. So yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. If excuse me. Please don't forget to like this video on the way out as well too. So thank you guys for all the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow.